Seneca once says, "Accept what happens to you with serenity. Embrace what you can change with courage." Today, you will see things that you learned too late in life through the poignant story of Jean, serving as a reminder of the importance of finding balance in life, cultivating meaningful relationships, and expressing feelings before the weight of regrets becomes unbearable. But the first thing you need to know is, you are our strength, and without you, our channel would be empty. Subscribe to our channel so you don't regret the valuable lessons you could learn by being part of our community. Listen to this story until the end and do not make the same mistakes as him. Jean, a passionate engineer, devoted his energy to his professional advancement. Days often extended into late nights, leaving him absorbed in urgent projects. Weekends were no exception, with his office sometimes becoming an extension of his home. In this pursuit of success, he neglected crucial moments with his wife and children. When he eventually became aware of the growing gap, he was overwhelmed by regrets. Missed birthdays, unattended school events, all contributing to an emotional void. His children, craving his attention, learned to grow without his presence. Family conversations were reduced to quick exchanges, accentuating the distance between them. The consequences of this distance became apparent in his children's adolescence. They had formed close bonds with other authority figures, leaving Jean wondering if he could ever make up for lost time. Regrets turned into a desperate quest to reconnect with strained family ties. Immersed in the climb of his career, Jean relegated personal relationships to the background. Longtime friends were no longer a priority, and social event invitations were regularly declined in favor of professional meetings. His wife, once his confidant, began to feel emotional distance. Unanswered phone calls from friends and neglected invitations to birthdays were signs of his exclusive focus on work. Jean believed that professional success would compensate for the deterioration of his personal relationships. However, he realized too late that isolation came at a considerable cost. When faced with personal challenges, Jean realized he hadn't cultivated a solid support network. Friends he had set aside had found other life companions, and the connection with his wife had weakened. Emotional loneliness became a burdensome weight to bear. The consequences of this neglect became evident as Jean went through tough times. The absence of a strong support circle made these trials harder to endure. Regrets set in as Jean became aware of the emptiness in his life, deeply regretting not preserving the connections that could have provided comfort in difficult times. Thirsty for success, he built his life around an incessant quest for perfection. The constant pressure to excel in his career instilled a deep fear of failure. Every project became an insurmountable challenge, every decision a source of anxiety. When bold opportunities arose, the fear of failure paralyzed him. Innovative ideas were often stifled by doubt and apprehension. Jean found himself choosing security over exploring unknown paths, fearing the potential consequences of failure on his professional status. The repercussions of this persistent fear were felt in his stagnant career. Despite his undeniable skills, Jean found himself stuck in a professional routine, refusing to take risks. Opportunities for personal and professional growth passed him by, giving way to a life tinged with regrets. When he realized the weight of his fear, Jean faced difficult choices. The realization that his obsessive quest for perfection had inhibited his creative potential and personal development was painful. Regrets manifested as unrealized achievements, unfulfilled dreams, and unexplored possibilities. Engaged in a frantic race for success, he was constantly obsessed with the future. Professional projects, long-term goals, and financial concerns monopolized his thoughts. Daily moments of happiness were pushed aside, sacrificed on the altar of his ambitions. Family vacations were often tainted by his professional worries, his mind already focused on the next deadlines instead of fully enjoying the present. Family dinners became meetings where the shadow of work constantly loomed. Relaxation opportunities were spoiled by anxious anticipation of what would come next. One day, Jean bitterly realized that years had passed without him truly taking the time to appreciate the small joys of daily life. His children had grown, and the precious moments of childhood had become fleeting memories. Regret set in as he understood that the obsession with the future had deprived him of a fully lived life. The consequences of this inability to appreciate the present manifested poignantly when he realized that happiness resided not only in professional accomplishments. His incessant quest for success had created a gap between him and his family, and the simple moments of happiness he had neglected could not be recovered. Jean, absorbed by the devouring demands of his career, tended to neglect his own health. Meals were often hastily taken in front of the computer, nights were short, and physical exercise became a distant thought. Constant pressure and professional stress became constant companion. At first, he only noticed subtle signs of fatigue and tension, attributing these ailments to the frantic pace of his life. Doctor visits were rare, health checkups ignored in favor of crucial meetings. Years passed, and the deterioration of his health became inevitable. Too late, Jean realized the devastating impact of his lifestyle habits on his well-being. Health problems, such as hypertension and sleep disorders, haunted his daily life. Hours spent in front of the screen had left lasting effects on his posture and vision. The consequences of neglecting his health had become unavoidable. Medical appointments multiplied as Jean sought to catch up on lost time. Dietary restrictions and medications became integral parts of his daily routine. Mental health also suffered, with episodes of stress and anxiety requiring professional attention. Regrets weighed heavily on Jean as he wondered if professional successes were worth the sacrifices he had made for his health. Lost moments of well-being seemed irretrievable, and the painful lesson anchored deeply. The accumulation of professional successes does not compensate for the loss of physical and mental health. Motivated by the desire for quick success, Jean had an aversion to obstacles. Faced with professional or personal challenges, he sometimes preferred to give up rather than persevere. This attitude, while allowing him to temporarily avoid difficulties, cost him dearly in the long run. Early in his career, Jean enthusiastically launched a business, but when he encountered initial resistance, he abandoned the project instead of persevering. Opportunities that could have emerged from this venture were lost, giving way to regrets. The same tendency to give up prevailed in his personal life. When friendships or family relationships faced conflicts, Jean preferred to withdraw rather than confront the problems. The connections that could have been repaired through perseverance dissolved. Only later in his career did Jean realize that perseverance was the key to long-term success. Projects that seemed insurmountable at first could often be overcome with resilience and persistence. Regrets persisted for not persevering in his early ventures, especially as others succeeded where he had failed. In his personal life, lost relationships due to his aversion to perseverance haunted Jean. Friends who could have stood by him in difficult times had left, and burned bridges were hardly rebuildable. Jean, accustomed to hiding his emotions behind an impenetrable professional facade, discovered too late the consequences of his emotional silence. Constant work pressure conditioned him to keep his feelings to himself, believing that vulnerability equaled weakness. Over the years, his wife and children struggled to decipher his changing moods. Moments of joy, sadness, or frustration were locked behind a mask of indifference. The lack of emotional communication created a gap, fostering a sense of mutual misunderstanding. When conflicts arose, Jean found himself unable to express his feelings and often preferred silence to confrontation. Unspoken words accumulated, creating a palpable tension at home. Family members felt, "Thank you for accompanying me on this enriching journey once again. I look forward to sharing more inspiring content with you in the future." Don't forget to subscribe and enable the notification bell to stay connected.